Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Hey friends. I'm actually recording this video using StreamYard on my cell phone. So hopefully it comes out good. Normally I take a video with my phone and then upload it, but I'm using StreamYard. So let's see how this comes out using my Android. I want to talk about crab in the bucket mentality or crab in the barrel mentality. Um so it's pretty much the gist of this is if I can't have it, neither can you. Signs of crab in the bucket or barrel mentality is self serving, often angry, always complains, spread rumors, lacks empathy, or likes to bully. So, the crab in the bucket or the barrel mentality, we're just going to call it the crab mentality, um, in their effect, is a way of thinking best described by the phrase, if I can't have it, neither can you. It's a term coined by Filipino journalist and writer Ninotchka Rosca. I don't know, I'm sorry. And this is from Wikipedia, which, is unregulated, so who knows. But just to give a baseline to what the principle of this idea is, in 1987, in the Philippine news, she coined the term to describe how, in her view, the general collective of Filipino culture disapproves of individual success as arrogant and deplorable. So pretty much when crabs are harvested together in a barrel, the crabs will pull down another or any crab that tries to get out the barrel before them. This is how the term came to be. It is often used in conjunction with jealousy, hate, competition, and for this um, video, in the African American and Black community. I'm going to say Black, I say Black, so Black community. And I use community as a descriptive term, a collective term, because I truly think the Black community is non existent right now, but I think it's coming up. To me, the definition of community is our own schools, our own housing, our own banks, yada, yada, yada. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to call it the Black community. And have you heard about Willie Lynch? A lot of people say like the Willie Lynch mentality is like lynching of the black man, but his last name is actually Lynch. So I got this. I knew about the Willie Lynch speech and the and letters and stuff like that. But when I went to go look up a definition for this video, I came across a little excerpt from. I'm gonna assume it's a man, Kevon Cotrell out of Bowie State University. I think that's a historically black institution. So here's some excerpts from him, and then I threw in my own retort. Mental slavery is a subliminal tactic used to keep blacks in psychological change in perpetuity. In 1712, Willie Lynch, a British slave owner in the West Indies, prophesied this method of control that would push an inferior mentality on the enslaved and eliminate the strength in numbers that unity provide Africans in America. Lynch stated the correct use of his method would control these Africans in America for 300 years or more. Um, we could see that this comes to fruition with the help of media today. What has not been fully addressed is whether the press deliberately supports white supremacist agenda or whether media's participation transformed into something less intentional but equally dangerous. For example, let's talk about the Grammys. The Grammys just happened over the weekend. I believe it was yesterday because today is Monday, February 5th. So I believe 2024, if you're watching in the replay game. So the Grammys was yesterday, and I don't watch award shows because I'm a big hater, but I watch snippets because I want to be involved in the culture and I make these videos and it's entertainment for me. And I saw how vastly different the presentation of Black people were at the Grammys. than when they were at the Black award shows. Um, and I just believe that. Oh, and Jay Z. Before I get to that point, Jay Z accepted a award for a fellow colleague, and he has his daughter up there, and he's basically saying how the Grammys and the whole thing of the Grammys and who's good and who's blah is subjective, which it is subjective. It's not a clear representation on the feelings of the people, kind of like when you vote for president. And he talks about how does this young lady who has the most Grammys ever in the history of Grammys never won album of the year? And of course he's talking about his wife Beyonce. So when we talk about the others and the emphasis that we put on their validation to make us whole, and why we should remove ourselves from using these white markers to define Black excellence, then we go into the likes of award shows like the BET Awards or Essence Awards, anything Black based, and we talk about the value that we put on that. There's a lot of people, a lot of celebrities who did not see the importance of Black award shows, who wouldn't come and support Black award shows, but would go to white award shows, and how we always talk about collectivism and how we have to come together, but we don't support our Black shows. And I think it's because of the mentality that when we put something together, it's less than, it's not important, it's ghetto, it's bootleg or whatever. And I say, oh, why do we do that? That's not true. But the fact that, and they use this young lady a lot, and I'm sorry, but you are the most dramatic representation of what I'm talking about. The Sexy Reds and the Suki Hanas, even though Suki Hana had her butt cheeks out, she was in couture. But when you, okay, Essence, as I'm trying to put this in a way that doesn't sound like ignorance, because I just really want to fucking be raw and ghetto and crude and crass, but it's not necessary. So let me put my intellectual hat on. I keep touching my hair because I want to be symmetrical. I want symmetry in my face. Um, I always thought Essence and the Essence Festival was Black bourgeoisie. It wasn't on the same level as Source Awards. Even there was a level of hierarchy that the Vibe Awards was a little bit more upper than the Source Awards, and the BET Awards was above Source Awards and above Vibe Awards. There always was a level of bourgeoisie, bouginess associated with these award shows. And to me, Essence Music Festival and Essence Festival and Essence Fest was at the top. When they allowed Meg Thee Stallion to come and twerk on the Essence Music Festival, it's never been the same again. I've never seen it the same again. To me, it was that same low brow as all the other ghetto like shows. Now we could say twerking is cultural and twerking is this, but there's a time and place for everything. And I think that type of behavior and stuff should have been done at the MTV Music Video Awards. To me, Essence was business, Black female empowerment, something that Kamala Harris would go to. It wasn't a place for that. And us Black people are not so void of culture that we have to be pigeonholed to twerking. To me, Essence is like when in Coming to America, he goes and meets his fiance, and although the dancers were scantily clad, there was something tasteful about the presenting opening dance sequence of when it's like To me, that was classy and beautiful, even though bellies were showing and the men had on loincloths. There was something beauty to it. There was something classy, avant-garde even to it. But to see Meg the Stallion twerking at Essence Fest declassed it. That's what I mean about how is it the media who's allowing things like this to happen to purposefully declass our events so that we don't see value in them? I said all of this to say that, like, is the media, is there somebody behind the big machine of making our establishments seen as less than value so that we will then pivot back and get our defining self-worth from whites? Or is it a coincidence that us as black people don't see value in our own? A lot of people have a lot of things to say about what's his name? Hollywood Unlocked. Oh my God. Hollywood Unlocked. Jason Lee. Although Jason Lee is biracial, I believe his mother is Caucasian. He identifies as a black man. And although I don't agree, I don't fight anybody on what they classify themselves at. If you ask me, he is a biracial man, but he identifies as white, and I will respect him that much to say that he's a black man because he has said he's a black man. And he does, it's one thing to just say you're a black man, but it's another thing to live the life, and he does definitely live the life of a black man. So he puts on Hollywood Unlocked award shows. He invites all these people, and I believe Lizzo showed up. And that was very important for me to see as a black woman, to see somebody as big named as Jason Lee, that she would go to something that he put on. Because in the grand scheme of the Grammys, he's small potatoes. He's not even potatoes. He's not even in the same bag as the Grammys. But somebody as the likes of Lizzo goes to the Grammys would also go to an award show hosted by Jason Lee, somebody black. So back to the, is the media part of the white supremacist movement, or are we doing this to ourselves as far as devaluing our black spaces? I want to go into the psychology of it and the psychology of the Willie Lynch and how it is applicable for today. So, for example, in the music industry, I already talked about the Grammys, so let's just stay on music. They search for psychologically unstable black youth in struggling neighborhoods and create stars. Given the background of the new stars, they're more likely to have trouble past. And the industry revels in this. Not only do they revel in this, they take out very, very big life insurance policies on these artists. These that are paid back to the industry, not to the person or their family or their kids. These created stars now appeal to youth across America in similar situations. Their songs perpetuate violence and bring allure to self-destruction for their troubled young listeners. Artists like Chief Keef. I'm old, so like I said, is he even still relevant? I don't know. I just remember because I'm old and music of today is not my music. But artists like Chief Keef cause our generation to give into assimilation, thinking irrationally and hate for each other. So it goes to show, like Biggie was interviewed. I'm gonna go for Biggie, and he says, "I rap about shit I see in the hood. I see death and destruction and all that stuff. I'm gonna rap about it. If I worked at McDonald's, I would rap about flipping burgers and making fries." So I want to go and say, like, this is how the Willie Lynch is still being used. The doctrine of the mental slavery and stuff is still around, whether it's done by design, which I believe, or subconscious, because it's been done by design so long They don't need to come and stir the pot. They've stirred it so much it's stirring by itself at this point. Like they have created a vortex that the stew it continues to spin on its own because it's been being spun for so long. So I want to talk about crabs in the barrel mentality when it comes to Black women at work. I'm a Black woman. I've definitely experienced crab in the barrel mentality. And I don't know subconsciously if I've done it myself because I've never been at a position where I controlled who worked there or not. Some examples of crab behavior include, but are not limited to, I'm talking about Black women at work, refusing to provide access to resource due to concern of there not being enough resource to go around, selectively avoiding mentoring and guiding new hires of color, aligning with problematic white coworkers and putting up barriers for other Black women to join, undermining Black coworkers through gaslighting, playing politics, and other form of sabotage, refusing to support or stand up for marginalized Black coworkers out of fear of compromising their own status at work. I'm going to talk about an example when I was a secretary. I was still in college and I was a secretary. And I had a nice car. I drove a very nice car, a car I bought brand new off the lot. I drove a nice car. I dressed nice. My hair was always done. My nails were always done. But my hair was always done because I know how to do it. Like right now, my hair looks bomb. The curls are curling. I did this myself. My nails were always done because I bought kits and I would put on my own acrylic tips. I dressed nice, but I knew how to dress and I knew how to shop. And I was shopping at Rainbow. Therefore, my wardrobe was always changing and I looked like money. And the few pieces of gold that I wore every day was given to me by my mother. So I looked rich. From outside looking in, it looked like this job was paying me bukus of money, but I was getting paid $11.75 an hour if you broke it down by salary. And I was sabotaged in my employment because somebody wanted my job. And when she set me up to get me fired, I still don't know why I was fired. I was fired for without cause. But I think she talked herself up so much and talked me down so much that they fired me. She quickly went into that seat. And it was told through the grapevine because I still had alliances with people that worked there. She was very disappointed in the salary. Actually, the starting salary they gave her was less than mine because I was there for already 2 years. So I had gotten the increases in the raises. They started her back to where I was and she quit. So she did all of that to get a seat that she thought was going to pay her money. And no. So I know all about being sabotaged at work by another Black woman. And I'm jaded by that. So that if I do work with other Black women at work, I don't open up to them. I don't talk to them because it be your own. It be your own. Very crab in the battle mentality. She didn't want me to succeed there. She wanted to succeed there, but there was room for both of us because I didn't want that seat anymore. I was looking to transfer. She could have had it. Or she could have talked to me and I could tell her, bitch, you pay $25,000 a year. Like, it's not worth it. But no, instead of being my kinfolk, she sabotaged me. That's why I say be your own. The impact of these crabs are immeasurable as it's already rough navigating corporate spaces as a Black professional, let alone dealing with self-hating Black people. In my opinion, I believe this workplace dynamic is changing due to a variety of factors, including access to social media, more voices being heard, and the growing movement towards holding companies accountable for their practices. I do believe there's a shift as far as corporate culture as a whole when it comes to Black people, but that crab in the barrel mentality is still as such. There's not many of us sharing the same spaces when it comes to higher ups. There's usually one woman and or one person of color. You rarely see multiple. And I don't know if that's by design from corporate America or these Black people are making sure like Highlander, there's only one. So, crab in the barrel mentality president in the black community. Dr. John Dollard, an American psychologist known for his study on in race relations, what the hell? Sorry, guys, something happened. Um, Victims of racial oppression and having historically been unable to confront and or diss their opponents. You know what dissing is? Your mama so fat, da 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 da. Not being able to their oppressors that way shifted their anger and aggression inward towards family, friends, and community as a string of insults. Blacks have been conditioned by PTSS, like it's like PTSD, to pull and tear each other down like crabs in a barrel. People who are in an impoverished community where one person is starting to get ahead, the collective community becomes jealous or filled with a sense of self-loathing. So they find a way to pull that person back down to community's level. Is it a Dave Chappelle skit when Calvin get a job? Calvin got a job. Do you remember that skit? Calvin got a job. It was a play on a commercial of a young black man who got a job at McDonald's and is walking around his community with his uniform on. And it's like Calvin got a job, young blood, and how they're seemingly like clowning him because he works at McDonald's. But then there's like a montage, and he has a college degree, and he's like big boss man being at McDonald's, right? So it's kind of like that. And the skit is making fun of Calvin, and even Calvin's girlfriend at home is like, "You ain't shit. We can't live off of McRibs." It's like that. I worked at McDonald's, and I never wore my uniform walking back home or traveling back home to my house. I always made sure I took off the hat and put on a sweater. You never saw it. It was accountable to have a real job, especially when you had the looks and access to be a drug dealer's girlfriend. Why are you looking like this working at McDonald's? You should be hanging off the side of somebody's Lexus RX 300, living the soft life, and being a drug dealer girlfriend. Why are you um working at McDonald's? I played orchestra violin, and I was teased for walking home with my violin, to the point where my mother bought me my own violin. So I didn't have to travel back and forth to school with the violin. I had a violin at home to practice. I got clowned for playing the violin. It's that same mentality, right? They don't want to see me elevating like, bitch, you a black bitch from the hood. Why the fuck you trying to elevate? Why the fuck you trying to play the violin? Why are you working? Why are you going to college? You should be down here at the bottom of the barrel with the rest of us. Why you don't got a baby on your hip at 16? Why you not pookieing on baby mama? It was that, right? Um, America still withholds opportunity and resources from minorities, forcing black and brown people to compete for scraps. The cycle of hate amongst these people will inevitably continue, and they will continue because of us. Because by design, we are groomed for this. We continue to do this. We let our kids see us doing this, and our kids will grow up and do this. Like in my other video talking about my kids' Walmart Jordan 3 knockoffs and how I had to prepare them for potential teasing, because these children are being raised by the same children that I saw as a child teasing other people. Now, unless they elevate it and change, which I highly doubt, because a lot of people aren't woke or like me, they will inadvertently teach their children to do the same thing. So let's talk about how social media has just perpetuated this and made it easier for the Willie Lynch syndrome to reach outside of your communities, and you could go into other people's communities and other people's wheelhouses who you won't have any access to and do the same thing to them. Instagram, for instance, might seem like an egotistical world of selfies. I remember when Instagram came out, you couldn't really type anything. I don't think you can type anything. You can type a description, but you cannot add text to Instagram. So I remember Instagram when it first came out because I was there. I'm old. Selfies. A lot of this. Oh, duck lips. Oh, that's not my good side. A lot of this. And a lot of food. A lot of food videos and a lot of selfies. But in reality, it is a networking site where a person can find and interact with creative people who you might not otherwise never have had the ability to access. Facebook might appear like a world of cat videos and political expression, but its original concept was to help spread messages and form partnerships and awareness of commonality. Like I said in my earlier video, you needed a college email to join the book face. The relationship one forges on social media might begin through a positive compliment, an emoji that makes someone laugh, or a sincere observation regarding their photograph. Again, through hashtags, commonalities can be found. For example, I hashtag my videos. This will be hashtag crabs in a barrel, hashtag black women in the workplace, so that this video could be lumped with those similar videos, and people who are browsing might come across my video, my contact, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when I go live or upload a video. But in the end, social media is a productive force in society that can help us see all perspectives with more love and less hate. It can be, it should be. And for the majority of it, I think for more than not, that is what it's used for. I learned a lot through social media that I don't think I would have found in the book because I don't like books. I'm a learned nigga, but I do not like to read. And I do not like to read because it's hard. I do not like to read because I think I have a form of adult ADHD and my brain wanders. I'm already somewhere else. And to have that laser focus it takes to read a book is too mentally draining for me. I like to absorb my content through listening. Audiobooks is very popular to me because I'm not pigeonholed sitting and holding something. I can listen to a book, I can listen to a podcast, I can listen to a lecture, and also be cooking, cleaning, reading, writing, arithmetic. Okay, here's a different perspective on this whole crabs in a barrel mentality that takes the blame off of the crabs and maybe puts it on the barrel. The barrel, not the crabs, is the problem. I found this from Khalil A. Cumberbatch. The barrel is a premeditated environment intentionally designed by systems to enclose the crabs, in turning, propagating, and perpetuating this false ideology of selfishness and negativity. How do we overcome this structure? However, the first step to solving a problem is to understand that there is a problem to begin with. Many people, some even reading this now, that's what he wrote, or some even listening to this now, still may not see that we have, throughout history and certainly now, been told a lie to believe that we are each other's enemy. The whole black and white thing. Dating back to the Willie Lynch methodology of sowing dissension among slaves, thus causing disunity, we have been fooled to see ourselves first before our commonalities, right? I got to look out for self. Fuck the group. It's all about me. And I'm selfish. I'm selfish. I'm selfish because I'm jaded. I'm selfish because I have to be. I'm selfish because there are crabs around me. Therefore, I have turned into a crab. Except I don't think I would pull another crab out. I like to see crabs leave, but I'm not helping another crab get out. See? If I see a crab get out, I'm not yanking that crab and pulling them back. But I'm not pulling any crabs with me. I'm out. Example. This is my personal example that I wrote. Everyone in my high school pretty much grew up and was raised in Brooklyn. However, we separated ourselves based on neighborhood. For example, I'm from Canarsie. I'm from Bed-Stuy. I'm from Park Slope. I'm from Coney Island. I'm from Midwood. I'm from Crown Heights. I'm from Kensington. I'm from Dumbo. On and on and on. Look up a map of Brooklyn. Totally different neighborhoods with the lines drawn out. Lines drawn out, right? And there was definitely a class system associated with each neighborhood. There's a reason why it's called do or die bed stuy. And if you was from Flatbush, you were probably Jamaican or Trinidadian. There's definitely a class system. Being from Bed-Stuy is nowhere as the same level as being from Kensington or Gravesend or no. Bed-Stuy back then in the early 2000s was the ghetto, crime ridden, crime infested, crack, needles everywhere. Coney Island, hood, needles on the sand. Don't go to Coney Island unless you're staying in one part. You don't walk through Coney Island. There was a projects there. Don't go to those fucking projects. It was the ghetto. I don't know about now. I'm far removed from Brooklyn, unfortunately, because it got too expensive for people like me to live there. There was definitely a class system associated with each neighborhood. Let's talk about the Bronx. I'm a transplant. I went to the Bronx. Riverdale is a neighborhood, literally, figuratively, whatever you want to call it, located in the county of the Bronx. 5 boroughs. Bronx is a borough. It's also a county. Brooklyn is Kings County. Bronx is Bronx County, right? It gets complicated, guys. There's a reason behind it. Whatever. But anyway, Riverdale is located in the Bronx. However, people will say, where are you from? Where do you live? I live in Riverdale. They don't say the Bronx. Bronxville. Let's get out of New York City. It's not only happening in New York City. Bronxville is located in the city of Yonkers. YO. DMX, Mary J. Blige, Yonkers. However, Bronxville is so removed from Yonkers, even though legally it is Yonkers, it is so far removed. When you write or address a letter to someone living in that area, you write Bronxville, New York. You don't write Yonkers, New York. You write Bronxville, New York. Bronxville is so detached from Yonkers, it has its own school system. City of Yonkers has a school system, public school system. Bronxville, located in Yonkers, has its own school system with its own budget. The tax money from those homes go to Bronxville School District. They don't go to Yonkers. Why is that important? Financially, people in Bronxville make this amount of money. Their homes are worth millions of dollars. They are high-paying taxpayers. People from Yonkers, down here. The money from the school system is collected through property tax. New York City, the school system gets its money from income tax. That's why the property tax in New York City is so low. A house like mine, it went up $17,000 to $20,000 a year for a regular one family house where I live, the city I live in, between $16,000 and $20,000 a year. About $10,000 or $11,000 of that is school tax. Then we have city tax and county tax. But the majority of our income, of our property tax, is school tax. The average one family home in Bronxville is probably paying $30,000 to $40,000 a year in taxes because their homes, even though it's the same size, like let's say my home is 600,000, that home might be 1.2. So let's say they're paying double. $40,000 a year. Let's say 30,000 of that is 25,000 of that is school tax. Why is that important? That $25,000 is not going to Yonkers School District. That $25,000 is going to Bronxville School District. Why does it matter? There's way less kids in that area of Bronxville than there are in Yonkers. That's a lot of money for a little bit of kids. That's a lot of money for a little bit of kids. That's a lot of resources. That's better recruitment of teachers because you can offer them more money. That's more services. That's better sports teams. That's better facilities. It matters. It matters. Why is a place like Bronxville separated from Yonkers? And it's not a white thing because there's a lot of black people that live in Bronxville. It's a money thing. I think now we're shifting out of the keeping the black man down and keeping this down. The We're now being categorized by our money. It's another video for another day, but I just wanted to give you that where you're from, there's a level of classism of being richer. Uh, 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 anyway, I don't know what to say. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? You can't form a unity when we are continuously perpetuating the division. Although we're all from Brooklyn, we were in different neighborhoods. My high school was definitely a melting pot. I think my graduating class was over 1,000. I think the whole school got 4,000 kids. We still paired up, grouped up in the hallways, clicked up. The cliques were not always divided by race. It was not, there was a lot of interracial clicking. The artsy fartsy people, the Marilyn Manson people, the Japanese anime people, the orchestra people, the choir people, the science people, the chess people, the weightlifting people. But it was clicked up. There wasn't a cohesion unit in my school. It was either separated by your likes, your commonalities, or it was separated by race. More so separated by race by, I would say, new immigrants, first generations who felt comfort in their own. But for us who parents have been here and stuff like that, like we didn't click up based on race, but a lot of the Asians clicked up, a lot of Chinese clicked up, the Jews definitely clicked up, stuff like that. The real problem is not people in the environment, it is the environment itself and the conditions that stem from the environment. How we logically conclude that the people who are economically stifled, products of inadequate schooling system, then I just talk about the schooling system, insufficient housing, over policing, and criminalization are the problem? No. I say that the fact that those conditions exist, the fact that the barrel exists is the problem. So basically, the crabs are not a problem. They are a product of their environment. The whole systematic barrel is the problem. The exceptions to the rules or the outliers like Oprah, Jay-Z, Russell Simmons, etc., and the likes. While it is great to see that they have been transcended past the disadvantages that they face, they should also be more critical of the fact that the conditions they work hard to overcome are still present. I believe Oprah, who started out the mud, literally and figuratively, has been rich more than she has been poor. Like longer, she's been rich longer than she has been poor. She's so far removed from what's going on at the bottom. She has no touch to the bottom anymore. She has no idea what's happening down here with us, the poors, right? If not done in a clear and concise manner, then we will continue to be misled and believe that a crab mentality is the problem, innately implying that a person has to have their own self-interest before any and all others. Now, I'm not saying that people should completely and totally put aside self-interest in efforts and actions, but what I am saying is that the next time someone makes mention of this mentality, take time to ask them, what about the barrel? Is that not the precursor to the mentality? I'm all for that. But it's harder to get rid of the barrel because we don't control the barrel than it is to change the mindset of the crabs. It's easier to get to the crabs than it is to remove the barrel. We don't have the power to remove the barrel. Black people don't have the power or the privilege to remove the barrel. So let's work on what we can control, and what we can control is the mindset of the crabs. When you do your thing, and this is my conclusion to everybody, and also I'm going to take this for myself because I'm starting to be, I don't want to say a victim, I'm starting to notice the crabs coming or the crabs around me. When you do your thing, remember you will have haters. Haters are going to hate, right? But never let them get you off track. Sometimes even family members, most of the time, it'll be your own family, will become jealous and try to derail your efforts and destroy your spirit. But no matter what obstacles come against you, you can make it if you treat people right, stay focused on yourself, and stay true to yourself.